everyone, Caroline here. Simple question. Do you enjoy eating? Of course you do. Who doesn't? But have you ever really thought about where our food comes from? Whether you like big salads or thick, juicy steaks, succulent chicken wings or tasty pizzas, all of our food really comes from one place: farms. In fact, America's farmers are often considered the backbone of the nation. Today, you'll get to meet one of those farmers and learn about some of the changes in bringing your food from the fields to the table. Mark Carrico has been involved in farming much of his life. In fact, he grew up on a small family farm in western Kentucky.
When I was young, of course, my dad, we always had a tobacco crop. We grew tobacco, also grew tomatoes at different points and had some livestock.
In addition to working for his father, tending to their crops and animals, Mark was hired on at another nearby farm.
Then the first jobs away from that were on a dairy farm right down the road. So I milked cows all through high school.
Through high school? Makes you wonder how old he was when he started.
Actually, I started working on the dairy farm before I could even drive. They would come pick me up on the weekend or work just the weekends. And that's after I got my license, I started with milk cows in the morning and actually would milk before school.
Mark said he would get up at 4:30 in the morning, work a few hours, then clean up and head to class. The school even accommodated him and his work schedule.
When in my senior year in high school, I took study hall first period, and I would come in after I get done milking cows.
Mark has obviously never been afraid of hard work, and since he enjoyed farm work, he thought about making it a career.
I knew that that might be an avenue, and that's the reason I went to school in agriculture.
Mark's favorite classes throughout school were math and science courses, including biology. Mark received his bachelor's degree in agribusiness, but then
I've always been interested in the agricultural field. I just, after I got out of college, I went different directions.
After college, Mark moved to Nashville, Tennessee for a sales job. He soon returned to western Kentucky and worked in building supplies for several years before starting his own commercial landscape and maintenance business. He did that for about a decade, then sold the business.
Wasn't necessarily looking for anything specific. I just knew I was going to make a change. But the owner of this farm knew me, and he approached me, and it just worked out.
At first, Mark thought he would drive a tractor and do whatever else needed to be done on the family farm. Soon, though, the owner came to him with something else in mind.
I am basically in charge of the technology side of most everything on the farm. That is with the GPS tracking systems and the guidance systems on the equipment, all the way through making sure the boundaries are in our computer system correctly for the farms.
So, just like almost every other aspect of our lives, technology has greatly changed farming.
Just in the last, 10 years, it's leaps and bounds.
I gotta admit, when I think of farming, I don't really think of technology. I'd like to know more.
For example, today we have 3 sprayers going out to put liquid nitrogen on wheat. And in order for them to know which farms, I've loaded the farms into each sprayer while I was sitting at my desk.
Mark implements the turns and routes that tractors and other farm equipment will take by loading the geographic coordinates for each property into a computer.
I don't even have to take a jump drive or anything. There was a time when you took a jump drive and loaded it all in. Now it's all wireless.
So wait, wireless? For farm equipment?
I can get in a tractor with a planter, and I can program within that tractor where I just push a couple of buttons and it'll make the turns.
Mark said most of the time a farm worker inside the tractor will make the turns, but
You just click a button It'll lock on a line. It'll lower the planter. It'll go to whatever speed you want it to go to, and you just push one button.
Wow. I wonder what the driver does then.
And then you just sit back and watch. It's pretty amazing.
Mark said that manufacturers of farm equipment are getting closer and closer to producing tractors that will completely drive themselves.
I don't know how that's going to work out, but that's what we probably said about it, all this technology when we started.
The future may be automated tractors following computer-programmed routes through fields, but there's still plenty of manual labor to be done. Mark said one of the historic characteristics of farming, long hours of hard work, still applies.
You have to be willing to do about anything.
Still, with a rampant increase of technology in agriculture, Mark said that a young person interested in farming should look especially at improving his technology skills, but not necessarily in college.
We do encourage, people to go get that, the higher education, but they definitely could come into this without having it.
That said, as farming becomes more and more high-tech each year, Mark added a college education will likely benefit anyone in the agriculture field and gives them more diverse opportunities.
There's a lot of different, degrees you can get within the agricultural field.
Mark's childhood love of math and science courses is proving valuable in farming, where high-tech plays an increasingly important role.
When I was growing up, a farm was a farm. It just seemed a little different. Didn't seem to be as much of a business as it is now.
Just under 900,000 men and women across America are employed as farmers, ranchers, and agricultural managers, numbers that are not projected to increase in the near future. But Mark said the industry continues to expand as the world population keeps increasing, making farming ever more important.
There is a lot of growth. Of course, nobody has a crystal ball to be able to tell what next year brings, but right now it's if it continues to grow and it does what it does, there is a lot of potential in the agricultural fields for young people to get involved.
As of 2020, the median pay for farmers and agricultural managers was $68,090 per year, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor. That figure is for individuals who own or manage farms and ranches, and is well above the median pay of just under $42,000 for all jobs. Still, Mark doesn't necessarily do it for the money.
To me, it's very fulfilling to know, that we grow, the crops, for food sources, be it livestock or for people to, to consume, knowing that we take a part in that. And I think that, a lot of people would find that fulfilling.
As the world population increases and there are more mouths to feed, farming becomes increasingly important. It's great to know that we have farmers such as Mark, who, with the help of technology, are helping to put food on our table every day. Thanks, Mark, for sharing your story with us and providing us with a behind-the-scenes look at the fascinating changes taking place in agriculture.
Hey!